Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel with myself, Isabella. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really excited for this video because it's about someone legendary who has had a huge impact on my life, and that is none other than Altynai, Aslymuratova. Now, when I was younger, for those that don't know who Altynai Aslymuratova is, probably maybe some of the more younger dancers who aren't so familiar with Kirov legends, I strongly suggest you watch this video as well as watch some videos of Altynai dancing. She is one of the most expressive and exuberant dancers and passionate dancers that I've ever come across. She's one of the reasons I fell in love with the Vaganova style and the Vaganova technique, and my experience with her really does come full circle, as I think it does for a lot of the foreign students who ended up at Vaganova. I know my friend Keenan Camper also had a full circle moment with her, which is so special for us. Before we begin talking and showing you a bit of Altynai, I just wanted to share my story about my relationship with her and how it happened. And so obviously when I was younger, I fell in love with the Vaganova technique thanks to my Russian coaches and the Russian teachers here in the UK that introduced me to the Vaganova style. And I started watching videos of her, and also my parents. My parents really introduced me. We had this videotape back when videos were a thing. We had this videotape of Le Corsaire at home, which was Altynai, Faruk Ruzimatov, and Zaklinsky. And Zaklinsky is her husband. And so I used to watch this video a lot, all the time. And I was just fascinated with her exuberance, her acting, her amazing way to portray a character, her joy on stage, how she draws you in, her aplomb, her charisma, her style, her grace, her elegance, her sort of almost throwaway technique, but it was, all done so beautifully, but it was so passionate that you just wanted to watch her. You never wanted to take your eyes off her. And watching that already introduced me heavily to the Vaganova style, and it was the type of dancer I really wanted to become. And so fast forward, I was auditioning in front of her, and she was there, and I was just so flabbergasted when I saw her for the first time, and fangirling. She was in her jazz trainers and her velvet tracksuit, so glamorous, so beautiful. Even she was older, in her 40s or 50s, and still absolutely stunning. I imagined her to be that beautiful because she's just got the most beautiful face. I became familiar with her personality and thought, okay, I really need to earn my respect here as well. Because initially when she was walking around the corridors in the school, she would be, quite, occasionally quite cold. And I would be like, здравствуйте, like this. And she'd be like, like this, and wouldn't engage too much. And so it was almost like she was more familiar with the graduating classes. Like she started to become on a level with them, or we started to become on a level with her when we got to that stage in the school. Like she treated you a bit more like an equal, which was nice. So when it got to my final 2 years and my teacher Irina Sydnikova was starting to really push me and really nurture me, and Sydnikova and Altynai were very close friends. They were in the company as well, and so I'm sure Sydnikova sort of really helped with promoting me a little bit to Altynai. But then there became an opportunity where this is when it was full circle. So Altynai taught us class a couple of times when Sydnikova was out sick or something, and it was an amazing class. She was so great. She would be a fabulous, I'm sure she's a fabulous teacher. And I know she's at Astana Opera now and runs that really. So I'm sure they're lucky dancers. But basically it came about that I was going to be dancing the Corsaire pas de deux. They said, Altynai's going to come in and coach you and Zaklinski, her husband, who danced with her in the pas de deux along with Farouk, he's going to coach you as well. So I was like, okay, today is the best day ever. I've been watching you do Corsair from when I was a little girl. Now I'm here in this school. Now I'm live watching you do the role that made you so acclaimed in the Western world, really, like, or, you know, it's one of the tapes that was recorded. I was watching her do all the movements and I was just like, you're so expressive. You're so amazing. Everything she would do, it was just so, it was like full of love in her eyes. You know, the way she would look at her husband and then open her back as she, you know, opened her leg to développé. It was just so beautifully done, even in her tracksuit and her trainers. So I was trying to eat up everything. And when she would say, good, better, I think I nearly died. And so that was a wonderful experience for me, as well as she also coached me on Swan Lake pas de deux. That as well was amazing. I saw how much she expressed and utilized the music, but also she would go from slow movements, expressive, to then, you know, a bit sharper, you know, and it was just like, it was a masterclass of lessons, and I will never forget it. And to learn from that woman, I will treasure forever and pass on to everyone. I'm getting quite emotional thinking about it, because it was just so amazing. And so that's something I carry very, very close to my heart, is that sort of experience. And so I thought today we're going to watch her just do Le Corsaire, the Medora variation, and you can see exactly what I'm talking about, and just see how amazing and expressive she actually is. And just watch how she uses her arms and her head, just like so expansive. Ugh. And obviously I did this variation as well for my graduation class, and she really helped with that as well. But she's just, look how beautiful she is. Just so full of life. And I just love how she walks here. Ta ta ta. And she used to say to me on this bit, Isabella, your leg needs to be like a knife out to the front. When I initially did that, I only travelled halfway down the stage, and she was like, Isabella, you need to travel the whole way. Look how expressive that ending is. You know, just amazing. Just beautiful. Let's watch some of her Nikia variation now in Le Bayadère, so we can see even more expression. You just become very just transfixed by her. And yeah, she's just so full of passion. I remember her saying once how she really hated ballet class, like she hated bar. She just wanted to dance, you know. She prefers performing and rehearsing. And this is what I mean, where she goes slow and then adds a bit more aggression, you know, a bit faster. But she's just so involved in the character. And now she sweeps the floor. I love the use of a little bit faster to the position. She is just one of the most amazing artists I've ever come across, actually. To learn from her is incredible. You just realize how to actually, you just realize, how much you have to express and come across and in your movements. That none of these things are just steps, there's meaning to every single step. And there's much more you can do with each step than just doing them. You can give so much just from a walk, even. Like, look at that arm coming across the reach. I think even now ballerinas lack this kind of depth to character. I think this era of ballerinas was just phenomenal. Like, her technique is still, perfect, excellent. But there's just much higher percentage of thought behind the expression as well. And it just takes someone up a level. There's just far more depth. And I was chatting to someone recently over an interview that really they asked a fantastic question. And it was, why do you think the artists in Russia are, maybe slightly better? Do you think it's due to... Oh, look at the change in character. And there's just great change here. They were saying, do you think it's due to the fact, culture and history and knowledge are a big part of the Russian culture? And I was like, absolutely. They read books, they read literature, they read poetry, they go to museums, they see art, they go to the theatre. It's really important. It's like you need to feed your passion, feed your artistic self. Otherwise, where can you take inspiration from? Right, let's watch the ending. Look at her head. Ah, brilliant. Amazing. I mean, you can see, when someone's a real artist, nothing that they're doing looks like steps tied together. You just completely lose yourself watching them, and that's what Altynai had through and through. And going back to my point about the younger generation, I think what's quite terrifying now and quite shocking is when students dance a variation, but they don't know where that variation's from, or they've never watched the whole ballet that variation is in. They don't know which part of the ballet that's in. They don't know, when that variation's happening in relation to the rest of the story. Maybe they've never watched a whole ballet, either in the theatre or on YouTube or in the cinema. And that to me is really not good. And I think you need to really think about your artistic development above everything else as well. Like, along with technique is just one part of it, but artistically, what are you doing to feed that passion? Do you know more history of ballet? Have you watched all the ballets from the beginning to the end? Do you understand it? Do you go to museums? Do you feed your artistic intelligence as well? Do you find things that inspire you? Do you go look at paintings? Do you listen to classical music? Do you read books? Do you read literature? Do you feed your mind? All these things are really important to becoming a real artist. The really intelligent artists are ones who are genuinely interested in lots of artistic things, and you need a lot more. You have to think about it like, if you had more artistic depth, of course you're going to dance with more depth. Whereas if you're learning your ballet quite superficially, how can that really come across? You will dance quite maybe technically amazingly, but the depth of your artistry will be quite superficial. Do you know what I mean? I really do think all the art forms are connected, and I do think that finding inspiration within the other art forms just only helps you become a better artist yourself. And so if you're not doing that kind of thing, I would start to look at that. I mean, start with the ballet, start with actually watching ballets and understanding and reading about ballets. But anyway, I mentioned that just because Altynai is just such an artistic dancer. You are completely lost. She is the reason I fell in love with Vaganova. She's the reason I went to that school. She's the one who accepted me. She's the one who really helped me realize a lot artistically. Had a huge influence on that. Yeah, she's a wonderful person. One that you have to gain respect from. Yeah, she's not just going to give it to you. She was, like I said, a little bit cold initially, but then you sort of gain respect from her, and then getting that sort of respect and approval from her just means the world. And she noticed I was practicing a lot in the studios at night time when she would go home, and she would always go home quite late, maybe 8 o'clock at night, and she would always pass the small studios, and when she saw me, she would always be like, "You practicing again? Don't be too late. But it was sort of like a good job, like, well done, you're practicing. And then she'd be like, "Are you alone? You're practicing alone?" And I'd be like, "Yep, practicing alone." She goes, "Okay, good, but don't stay too late." When people started seeing me practice at night, I think that sort of helped them see how much I wanted it and also gain that respect. So I really, really valued and appreciated that. You can't imagine just how this woman has affected my life, come from the beginning, full circle until the end. And I know a lot of you watching, especially some of you who are more aware of that Kirov era, she is such a megastar and such an amazing artist, one that will never be forgotten of that era. I just had to do a video on her because I just wanted to bring a bit more awareness back to her because she's so incredible, and now she's doing amazing things in Astana in this amazing theatre. So and her daughter's there as well, dancing there. Yes, comment down below if you love Altynai, and if you ever had the privilege of watching her live, or if any performance specifically, touched your heart, or any performance really made you aware of her. And if you haven't watched her, let me know, and let me know if you're going to watch her, because you must take inspiration from this woman. She is artistically at the top of her game, just so amazing. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. And thank you, Altynai. And I'll see you guys very soon. Bye for now.